something has changed the face of the one-time little-known town in Kirinyaga County.
The growth of Mwea is because of rice growing.
A proof that agriculture can be a lucrative business venture in Kenya.
Mchere iko na pesa, lakini wakati huu mambo yanabadilika sababu mchere natoka nje ya miji na kuja na haribu mchere hapa Mwea.
We have a deficit, so we have to import the rice.
On today's show, we look at the status of rice production in Kenya and the future of rice farming in Mwea Irrigation Scheme. But first, let's have the fact sheet.
Rice consumption in Kenya continues to increase rapidly and now competes with maize and wheat as the country's staple food. About 80% of the rice grown in Kenya is from irrigation schemes managed by National Irrigation Board, while the remaining 20% is produced under rain-fed conditions. Mwea Tebere is the largest rice irrigation scheme in Kenya, producing over 50% of the local rice.
We produce about 80,000 metric tons of rice annually, and this is valued at around 5 billion Kenyan shillings. That's paddy.
Other irrigation schemes include Bura Irrigation Scheme, Tana Irrigation Scheme, Ahero Irrigation Scheme, Bunyala Irrigation Scheme, West Kano Irrigation Scheme, and Pekera Irrigation Scheme. Rice consumption in Kenya is always greater than supply. According to National Rice Development Strategy 2008 to 2018, the national rice consumption is estimated at 400,000 metric tons compared to an annual production range of 80,000 to 120,000 metric tons.
The rate of increment in consumption of rice is increasing more than any other crop. You find crops like wheat, maize are increasing at about 2 to 3%, while rice consumption rate is increasing at 12% in Kenya. That makes it one of the most important crops.
In that light, Kenya has been importing rice from Pakistan, India, and other Asian countries to fill the gap in the market. For the Chamwada Report, I'm Michael Zimanji.
It's planting season in Mwea Irrigation Scheme and farmers are busy in the paddy fields. Started in 1954, Mwea Irrigation Scheme sits on 26,000 acres of land. And what was started as a detention camp for Mau detainees during the state of emergency has now turned to be a gold mine for Mwea residents.
I have 4 acres of land and right now we are planting. That's why you can see these people around. And when I sell, I get money to educate my children and also prepare for the next season. It's a good venture, but sometimes water is a challenge, hence low production.
Mwea Irrigation Scheme is currently run under the participatory irrigation management approach, with the National Irrigation Board being responsible for the primary and secondary infrastructure, while the farmers are responsible for the tertiary infrastructure.
We do rotational irrigation. We have divided this scheme into 4 irrigation blocks for us to be able to effectively do irrigation, because the reason being that the flow that we get from the 2 rivers, when the river flows are okay, is about 9 meter cubic per second, and the year to our water requirement is about 12 meter cubic per second. So for us to be able to irrigate without deficit, we do rotational irrigation.
For paddy rice, adequate water supply is critical. Acute water shortage in Mwea has in the past seen farmers record very low rice harvests. When we visited Mwea in 2016, the situation was bad, very bad. Rice production at the Mwea Irrigation Scheme had dropped to its lowest level since establishment in 1956. Most of the farmers lost their harvest after irrigation water dried up, while others only managed 2 or 3 bags per acre, down from 30 bags in normal circumstances.
Already mchele imekaa miezi kama 2 bila maji. Na mchele wakati inachomoza ama wakati wa flowering ndio inahitaji kuwa na ile unyevu ama maji ambayo inatakikana. Kwa hivyo kama imekosa maji wakati wa flowering, already hiyo mchele iko affected. Kama 80% ya mazao imekata.
Well, that was 2 years ago. For now, the farmers are talking of a bumper harvest last season, that is 2017 season. Nyamindi and Thiba rivers are the main sources of irrigation water in Mwea. With climate change, it's in no doubt that these rivers might not supply adequate water to the scheme. Thiba Dam, which is being constructed in Kirinyaga County at an estimated cost of about 20 billion Kenya shillings, is expected to end the water crisis in Mwea. Upon completion, Thiba Dam is expected to double rice production in Mwea Irrigation Scheme by ensuring that there is constant water supply throughout the year, meaning the scheme will have 2 seasons. Now, the question that many are asking is how long will it take for Thiba Dam to be completed?
We expect at least that the project will take 3 years to 3.5 years. We are here now on the mobilization phase. We just commenced mobilization 3 months ago. We had some interference with the rain season. You know very well this year we received more or less abnormal rainfall, but we are trying to catch up. We lost almost 1.5 months to 2 months, which we are trying to catch up. And this mobilization is supposed to take us another 1.5 months to 2 months. This mobilization phase mainly is the site establishment. Where we are standing here is where we are going to have the camp, the offices. These are going to be the staff houses. On my right, we are going to have the office on that side. At the back there, we are going to have the other engineers' offices. The consultant for the project is Nippon Korea, who are doing the project, who are the consultants, and we are a contractor from Germany. So we expect to catch up the lost time for sure, depending on the weather condition, most likely in the next 1.5 months. Thiba Dam is a big dam. It will have about 15 million cubic meters of water to feed the rice paddies. So here we are doing the dam, which is going to cover about 260 acres. And the volume of water will be about 15.6 million. The height of the dam is 40.6 meters high on the lower part. And this will be regrade water to the rice paddies so that at least they can have twice kind of on cultivation.
The water from the Thiba Dam will be conveyed through gravity to the Mwea Irrigation Scheme, whereby from the offtake works, the water will be conveyed through the existing Thiba Dam as the main canal. So this dam will act as a storage to supplement the water, and that water stored will be released into the Thiba River, which then supplies water to the Mwea Irrigation Scheme.
Mwea produces the greatest amount of rice, and we are sure that through this dam we are going to have double crop, or rather we'll be able to double the input. Then everybody is waiting for that time. So the farmers are eagerly waiting because Mwea solely depend on rice, and therefore when we say that the project is going to help us enable us produce the double crop that we want or that we always have, then for sure everyone is waiting for that.
With a dam, the water problem might be a thing of the past, and perhaps there will be adequate water to do rice farming. At this point, we take a short break, but when we come back,
wakati huu mambo naenda nabadilika, sababu mchele natoka nje ya miji na kuja na haribu mchele hapa Mwea. Sababu unakwenda kuuza mchele yako unasema kilo moja ni 150. Unakuja ile ya Pakistan wanauziwa bei rahisi. Sasa hiyo mchele unaona mchele yako inaenda bei inaenda chini.
We import over 500,000 metric tons of rice into Kenya, valued at 14 billion Kenya shillings. So you can just see what the Kenyan farmers are losing when it comes to rice.
Welcome to Mwea Town, locally referred to as Gurubani. It is a town that has earned a reputation over the years for producing quality rice. Investors have pitched camp here. Some have opened supermarkets, hotels, entertainment joints, rice milling farms and all kinds of ventures.
Rice business sio mbaya sana, especially kwenye hii town yetu tunaita Wanguru town. Kwa sababu unavyoelewa mchele wa Mwea watu wengi wanaupenda. Na ni mchele ambao wanasema ni expensive, lakini wanaupenda. Kila mtu akinunua anasema ni mzuri. Kwa hivyo business wise tunaweza sema sio mbaya. Zaidi ningetaka niwe na branches, niwe na mahali naweza kupeleka mashine hata kama ni 2-3 somewhere else. Nifikie wateja karibu.
Mwea is turning to be a commercial hub, attracting banks and other financial institutions, which simply means there is a lot of money in circulation, thanks to rice farming.
Mwea was a small town. This town you are seeing here, which is called Wanguru or Ngurubani, was a small town. Back in the 80s, it was a very small town. But the town has grown in leaps. Where even we are now, actually, I mean, this was just barely, people's chambers. But the town is still growing. If you go to the villages now, in the villages of the farmers, back in the 80s, you will not see stone houses. Stone houses done very well, you'll never see. But right now, thanks to the liberalization of the rice sector, the villages have changed. There is actually, business in the villages. The roads have been, marked properly by National Irrigation Board. And I think, what the Mwea farmers require right now is more irrigation water to open up more land and produce more rice. Since we require more rice than actually we produce.
Mwea has become synonymous with rice farming in Kenya. Dr. Paul Omanga is a food security expert and has done extensive research on rice farming in Kenya. Mwea Irrigation Scheme is not the only place that produces rice in this country, but then Mwea rice stands out. So what's so unique with Mwea rice?
The Mwea rice farmers are commercial oriented. If you go to Mwea, you will find the number of mills, the value added, the processing of rice they do there, and the way they market the rice is where their market finds a niche, even in the supermarkets and other places in the country, because the way they have come out to market their rice. Actually, all this is about marketing. If you go to Ahero, which is another area where rice is grown a lot, you will never find rice being sold even on the roads. In the roadside, if you pass through Ahero, you will not notice that this is a rice growing area. It is just like that. But the Mwea people, you will see, once you start leaving the Nyeri road into Mwea, you will just start feeling there's a change.
Meanwhile, Mwea Rice Mills is a beehive of activities. Farmers taking their rice for milling, while others are busy selling the white rice.
Hii mchele ndio yangu. Hii mchele nimeleta asubuhi.
Almost all businesses have been infiltrated by middlemen, and rice business is not an exception. Beatrice Muthike has been in rice selling business for the last 20 years. She tells us about the dynamics of the rice market in Mwea.
Ninanunuanga mchele huku rice mill. Ninaanikiwa, ninasaga na ninaruhusia customers. Huku miro kuna kunjanga customers wakitoka maeneo mbalimbali wanatununulia mchere na bei nafuu. Kwa siku moja unaweza nunua kwa gunia kama mchere gunia kama 20 hivyo. Ikisagwa unauza inatoa kama 9,000 hivi. Unapata profit ya kitu 500 hivi kwa kila gunia. Na tunaona inatufaidi kidogo kwa kusomesha watoto na kuwapa chakula.
Kwa siku huwa tunakutana kama kikundi cha watu 4 na tunaanika gunia kama 200. Kwa kila gunia ni 60 bob kuanika, na hiyo pesa yote tunapata.
Initially, Mwea rice millers had the monopoly of milling rice in Mwea, but not anymore.
Kulikuwa na shida mingi sana, sababu mtu kulima mchere alikuwa anapewa mawaidha vile atafanya. Sasa ukivuna mchere yako, ukipanda unaangaliwa vile unafanya. Wakati wa kuvuna unaangaliwa upeleke mchere kwa store, alafu upimiwe ile utatumia. Sasa ulikuwa mtu alikuwa anapewa gunia 12. Na ukipeleka mchere dogo, hiyo mchere yako itakatakatwa. Upewa labda 5 ama 6 hivi. Sasa tukadea hivyo bodi ikaisha. Tukaingia hapa kwa individuals. Sasa kutoka hapo ilikuwa mambo ikabadilika kidogo. Sawa, mtu alikuwa analima kivyake. Sasa ukilima unapeleka mchere yako yote nyumbani, na uza ile unataka kuuza, hata hiyo bodi ndio tunawauzia. Na ukikataa kuwauzia utaweka mchere yako nyumbani na unaleta hapa kwa machini na jishagia unajiuzia wewe mwenyewe. Huko bure.
Several private milling plants have come up. The farmers are spoilt for choice, but after milling, there is another challenge.
You get a bag of Pakistan rice selling at 2,500. You may not be able to sell the pure Pishori rice here. Our customers don't bread rice here. Our customers sell as they mill, but they've never adulterated their rice. There are times when they get customers, like now, they are selling their rice, and there are times that they sell their rice because of problems of marketing or cheap imported rice flooding the market.
There is also the cost of production, which is tied to the pricing of Mwea rice in the market. What must be done to lower the cost of production of rice, because that determines the price of that rice in the market?
Farmers can have very strong groups, cooperatives, such that they can buy the inputs in bulk, and when they buy it in bulk, the cost will be reduced. In Asian countries, farming, especially rice farming, is now mechanized. And we are suggesting that our rice production should be mechanized. And this will reduce cost of production significantly.
Rice is in high demand and in the long run might end up being the country's staple food. To increase rice production in Mwea Irrigation Scheme, the county government of Kirinyaga is set to try something new.
What we've got from Italy is that they are helping us also do what we call lice, dry lice farming. We are not, that type of lice will not be dependent on water. And therefore, we are going to be able to produce lice which will be much enough to be able to distribute without any imports. Therefore, the issue of Pakistan importation is coming to an end. So we want to get technology that Italians use to get dry lice farming. And they are coming, we are giving them about 100 acres for them to do a sample of that kind of lice.
Well, if that works and Thiba Dam is complete as per the stipulated time, then Mwea Irrigation Scheme might be the next big thing in the region. But what's the future of rice farming in Kenya? And are we just looking at Mwea Irrigation Scheme and forgetting that we have other places?
The Mwea, with the coming up of Thiba Dam, I think the area under rice is going to increase. But we have to get out of that and think of other rice growing areas. In Western Kenya, that is the Kisumu, the Budalangis, the Busia, and even the coast. One thing that we must look into is the infrastructure for irrigation. It must be developed for us to be efficient in rice cultivation.
Bubbling with potential, rice schemes in Kenya have been termed as sleeping giants. Experts have argued that rice production in Kenya can be doubled and the enormous rice deficit in the country met if farmers embrace modern ways of rice farming. Well, and that marks the end of our show. On behalf of the entire crew, thank you so much for watching and bye-bye for now. From Kirinyaga County, my name is Elijah Mwea.